Hey there, welcome to Module 7 where we're talking about post-sale emails. Now, this stuff might not be as sexy and as fun as the emails that actually make the sale, but I want you to understand that what you do after the sale is part of your email marketing. It's part of your marketing generally. And we're going to cover the pieces that really are kind of specific to marketing efforts. So that's what we're going to be talking about here in Module 7. Now, in Lesson 1, we're going to talk about a post-sale survey, and specifically kind of an email that you're going to want to send to people who did not buy your product during the promo. Specifically, in this lesson, you'll learn why you should send a quick email survey to non-buyers, when to send the email, and what to say in your non-buyer survey email. So that's what we're talking about here in this lesson. So let's dive in. The point I want you to get is that getting feedback from people who didn't buy is probably the best way to improve your next launch. I want you to think about that again. Think about that seriously. Hearing from why people did buy is great, but hearing why people didn't buy is where you're actually going to get more insight and more information that can help you improve. And so you need to set up a way to get that feedback. And that's what this kind of post-launch survey is. So let's talk about it for a second here about what you'll learn. Now, when you survey non-buyers, it can really help you find out ways that maybe your messaging is off or that the offer is off. And those are two different things, right? The messaging could be you just didn't convey to them what was included, what was the value, what they would get. Or it might be that what you get as feedback is that they actually need something different. And it could be that it's slightly different, or it could be that it's very different. I mean, it could be that they need something completely different from what you offered, or it could be just a matter of, well, this was good, but it didn't have this, and so I didn't think it was good enough, right? And so you can think about those things and learn those from this survey. But you might also discover kind of new products to create. Maybe they tell you, well, this just wasn't for me at all, but I would like this instead. Or an opportunity to downsell into a different product. And we'll talk about that in another lesson here in Module 7, because a downsell can be an important thing to learn. Basically, if you've never heard the term, a downsell is simply a way of saying, if you were offering a course that was full service with Q&A and with all that, a downsell might simply be just the content of the course at a lower price. Or it could be, in some other case, kind of just a segment of what you teach in the overall program. Now, I'm going to give you an example to help you understand this. My non-buyer survey after my first template library launch, and my template library is where you get all of my legal templates forever. And that's where I discovered that people didn't even know that I also sold individual templates. Literally, I sent this email, I asked them for feedback, and one of the things I got is, well, this was great, but I don't need all that stuff. I only need one or two. I wish you sold templates individually. Literally, that was words that I got back. Well, you can imagine that gave me insight into some messaging and helping people understand. And then the next time I did my launch, and you'll see this in the following lesson, I did a downsell, and I downsold people into individual templates. So again, it's something that's very important and can provide great feedback. So that's kind of thing you can learn through this process. Now let's talk about when to do it. Because people are engaged in the launch, really the best times to send the email is soon after the cart close. Now, I don't necessarily mean that you're going to send it the morning after cart close, because if you follow my sales sequence advice, you're going to be sending at least 3 emails on the day of cart close, maybe 4. So you may not want to then hit them with an email 12 hours later that is, why didn't you buy? When I've done this, I often give it a day or two. I just give them a day or two to rest, and then I will send this email to get the feedback. So that's the point. You want to do it soon, but don't feel like you have to do it right away. So that's kind of a process and the timing. Now let's talk about what to do and how to write it. You want to keep it really simple and don't make your audience work to respond. This is not a survey where they've got to answer 15 questions. This is not something where you're going to write, a really long email about things. No, you're going to keep it simple and you're going to make it very easy for them to respond. And really all you want is for them to respond to this statement or question. I would love to hear the single biggest reason you decided not to buy. It's just that simple. You want to hear that from them. Now, you can execute this by having a single question survey set up on Google Forms if you wanted to, or you can simply ask them to hit reply and tell you the answer to that question. Whatever is easiest for you and whatever you think will be easiest for your people. Now, what I'll tell you is, even if you create a form, some people are going to simply hit reply and respond, which is okay too. The email itself should be short, sweet, and to the point, but making these emails kind of cheeky and fun obviously isn't a horrible thing. You'll see this in the swipe, but I think my standard one is talking about how I pulled out all the pulled out all the stops. I talked about this and that and the other, and I did it, and you still didn't buy. And so then I kind of, have some things. So that means either, and I put 3 things, and one of them is the last point of, or maybe you hate me, ... with a smiley face. And that's a common phraseology here. So you'll hear people call these emails, do you hate me emails, because that's often the subject line you'll use for the survey. This, you obviously have to think from your perspective, is that consistent with your brand style? What I will tell you is that using do you hate me for the subject line is controversial. Some people don't like it, so you may want to use a different subject line. What I will tell you is when I sent this the first time, I got someone who responded to me something like, well, I didn't before this email, and then went off on me. Now, again, I don't mind that because candidly, if someone's going to get all upset because I'm being cheeky and funny, it's kind of silly. Now, this person was mad because they claimed that it's, this overused trope and I was just using, some kind of silly marketing gimmick or something like that. I was laughing. I was saying, well, yeah, but it's also very consistent with my brand and I'm very individual. So I didn't really care. I'm fine using the do you hate me subject line because guess what? It gets people to open. It gets people to see it and open and do it. You may want to use something different. Like you could use something like, was it something I said? Or, was it something I didn't say? You could use something like that that's just as effective probably. You choose what works for you. Now, you'll find an example do you hate me email in the swipe that's here in this lesson that will give you a sense of kind of how I craft these. But again, short, sweet, to the point, and get their feedback. That's all you're trying to do so you can get the information to work on your messaging, work on your offer, figure out if there's another product to downsell, etc. So the key lesson takeaway is you want to survey people who didn't buy during a promo right afterwards to get invaluable feedback to improve the next launch. Now, in the next lesson, we're going to be talking about downsells, and we'll talk about why you might want to consider a downsell email sequence, how to craft a downsell email sequence, and when to send downsell emails to your list. I'll see you in the next lesson.